Hello and welcome to the EML F1 Season 8 Championship, and today you join us for round 12 here in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit for the season finale. Yes, we are here at the end of 12 weeks of racing, and it has been an incredible season heading into the final round of the championship. The standings are looking tight, but not as tight as they were last week. Today we are at the Yas Marina circuit, a 5.5 kilometre long track first created in 2009, and it can host 150 yachts in the bay, but more important, it has got 3 DRS zones with 16 corners available for overtaking, the best zones being of course turn 1, turn 5, turn 6 and turn 9. Plenty of overtaking opportunities tonight, hopefully. Now of course, it being the end of the season, the championship standings are very important indeed. Last week there was only a 5 points difference between these guys, between Evolution Racing and Alien Motorsport, and tonight there is 30 points. However, a last second penalty for Alien Motorsport means that that standings board is actually incorrect. They are now on 256 points, so there is actually a 35 point gap between Evolution Racing and Alien Motorsport for the championship lead. This means that tonight EVR only need to finish P8 or above to secure the championship win, and Alien Motorsport will be doing their absolute best to prevent this from happening. Now, unfortunately, F1AF is not out on circuit tonight, so P3 is pretty much guaranteed for QSL. And the battle for P5, though, will continue between DLX, FRC and XPG, as Esports PEC is unfortunately also not able to make it trackside tonight, and we'll go over the driver lineups in just a few moments. Hyper Racing Team and XR8, of course, both scrapping for P9 and P10, trying not to be the team to be dead last in the championship, so that is also another championship battle we can keep an eye on. Our driver lineup for tonight: Antonio Jesus and Alberto out on circuit for DLX, with Coco Master and Shanks driving for FRC. Ollie and Exotic Planes return for EVR, while Liagos is the only representative for HRT, despite what you may see on the screen. Manolo and Josh are representing XPG tonight, while Misha and Knight are 2 older drivers that we've seen before here at AMS. Unfortunately, F1AF, XR8 and PEC are all no-shows tonight, so it's only Gabza and Kart left over to represent QSL. Now, in terms of points, again, we were talking about this earlier. It's a 35-point gap between P1 and P2. And our point system works slightly different from the real F1. It's only 22 points for the race win, with 18 points on offer for P2 and 15 points for the final podium position, while 12 points are on offer for P4. It's then a 1 points difference from each position downwards, so therefore we have 15 points scoring positions. You can also pick up an extra point for pole position and the fastest lap, which can be obtained during qualifying and the race respectively, as is usual. So, all that in mind, if EVR only needs 8 points to finish in the lead, of course, to win the championship, they only need to finish within P8 and above. Otherwise, AMS stands a chance. If they take the race win, they get P2 and they get those extra 2 points, they could potentially clinch it as long as EVR does not finish within the top 8, pretty much. But again, so many variables, so many points on offer, anything could happen into this final race of the season. But that's enough chit-chat. Let's head to the track. Here we go. So, as you can see, we have our top 8, funnily enough. Is that calm? Is that fortune? Is that a curse? I don't know, but either way, our top 8 have all set a lap time now, with the 2 EVR cars out on top. Misha now heading out onto his second flying lap, with Knight in a similar position further along the circuit. I was about to say back from the circuit. Well, it's a little forward. It helps looking at the little track map on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Now, if you're also looking for sector times, they're on the top right-hand side. You can see the driver, the position they're in, the tyre compound they're on, and their lap time. At the moment, it's set as outlap because that is what we call an outlap. And just a quick explanation of how the qualifying format usually goes for teams is they usually run a 3-lap field load. First lap is, of course, your outlap. Second one is going to be your flying lap. And then they have just enough fuel to get the car back to the pits in what we call an in-lap. And so we've only got about 18 minutes of qualifying, so the turnaround is a little bit high. They go out, do their thingamajiggy, come back in, pit, and then have to go out again, which means that all in all they maybe get about 5 or 6 flying laps in. And towards the end it can get a little bit funny when drivers start invalidating their lap times, they get desperate, and I could imagine that being the case for AMS today. The pressure is on for them. They need to gain more than 35 points to clinch this championship, and they need EVR to suffer today as well, with a P8 finish being essentially that's the benchmark that EVR are aiming for. They just need to finish within the top 8 and they've got that championship secured. AMS, in that case, would still need fastest lap, pole position, P1 and P2. It's not impossible though. We've seen EVR just last week, in fact, at the United States Grand Prix, secure P1 and P2, get both cars on the top steps of the podium. The only 1-2 finish that we've seen this season from any team. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it is highly improbable. Misha, though, making a good start on the pole position side of things, and Knight does the same with a 121.8, clinching pole position from Ollie and Exotic Planes. That top 3 separated within a 10th of each other. P1 and P3, there is a separation of about a 10th, which is absolutely incredible. But of course, you have to expect that from the guys up at the top. Then we've got Misha coming across the line now. Sector 3 was a 10th up. He's now in P5. So at this stage, as long as Knight and Misha can secure pole position, that's a step in the right direction. Now, of course, we do have that battle for P5 going on between DLX, FRC and XPG. We've got Josh and Manolo driving for those Aston Martin clad teams. Well, I should say, sorry, not teams, team. Josh, of course, did fairly well on his run out in China, all the way over at the start of the season, the first quartile, round 3, and he did decently, very well there. Manolo, we've not really seen too much from him, so in terms of the overall team working together to get points, yeah, Manolo's going to be working in the background, I'm fairly certain, but again, you know, he might come through and surprise us, who knows. Over on the DLX side of things, we have Alberto, who's been a season constant, if you could say it. In maths terms, we've got variables and... oh dear, commentator maths. What's it called again? Anyways, basically, it's the one value that doesn't change all the way throughout the season, and Alberto has been there every single race this season. Antonio Jesus also in quite a lot of the time, but of course Alberto only a few weeks ago at Mexico managed to secure a P4 finish, so who knows, top 13 today obviously, with only 13 drivers able to make it to the grid. Could see some good points for DLX as well. For FRC, we've got Shanks who's just come into the pits, and Coco Master also in the pits, actually slightly poorly timed, but at the end of the day, you know, it's going to be a great battle between those 3 teams for P5 in the championship. Oh, excuse me. Then, of course, we have got HRT trying to stay ahead of XR8, and XR8 haven't shown up in the last 3 weeks, which is a bit of a shame. Well, I say a bit of a shame. It's a huge shame, in fact, because, of course, that's 1 less team competing, 2 less cars on the grid, and less racing. They had some good potential mid-season and towards the end of the season as well. We had Kieran, a couple of the other drivers also getting a podium finish at Silverstone. Unfortunately, not managing to hold on to pole position at Canada though. And yeah, at the end of the day, just it's disappointing finish for XR8. Not only for the end of the season, or the start of the season in fact, but also the championship at the moment. And as it stands, HRT are going to be taking P9, so XR8 will be demoted. And can you believe it? Ferrari is not last. We had about 5 weeks where the drivers in red weren't out. We had no Ferrari on the grid for about 4 or 5 weeks, as the previous team, ERS, struggled to get their drivers onto the grid. And another team tried taking it over, didn't quite work out, and then HRT stepped in and in only their second showing managed to secure a podium finish. And they've been fighting for podium positions over the last couple of weeks as well, but unfortunately just not able to finish in those positions. Now, of course, we've got QSL, Kart and Gabza out there on circuit tonight. Pretty much only P3 on offer for them this championship. Unfortunately, AMS and EVR have pulled out such a massive lead, they just can't keep up. And F1AF, yes, they did get a lineup together, but it was after the deadline. So if they had only managed to if they'd only submitted their lineup a little earlier, it sounds as if there was some sort of miscommunication between them. But if they'd gotten that communication in earlier, it could have been a great battle for P3 as well. We've seen the Grand Dada secure a podium just 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately for QSL, they've not really managed to get onto the podium too much recently. We saw a little glimpse in Las Vegas, but again, just nothing happened. There was collision on the final lap. Gabza, I believe, was the driver who went off. No, it was Kart. I don't know. It was either of these two. Probably the two most well-known drivers for QSL who met the wall, unfortunately. And tonight, really, they're just here to participate as part of the show. Good sportsmanship. Anyways, let's keep an eye on these two orange cars. These are the championship leaders at the moment, Exotic Plains and Ollie, representing the McLaren squad tonight, with their rivals Knight and Misha in P1 and P7. Of course, having two EVR cars in the top 3 will definitely help their chances when it comes to finishing in that top 8. Of course, for Alien Motorsport, that's not ideal, especially considering their second car is only in P7 as Exotic Plains pulls into the pits. His attempt at a flying lap over Misha, though, on a flying lap right now, or in his in lap, it's unfortunately unclear according to the timing screen on the top right hand side of your screen. It is unfortunately not possible for us, but Josh for XPG decides to step in and spice things up with a P1 at the moment, a 121.6, so that's a 0.2 improvement. Misha, though, coming around the final corner, could this be pole position for him? He only improves up to P5, right behind the two EVRs. Now, this isn't good. This isn't looking good for AMS. Josh taking pole position, of course, away from Knight. That's the 2 points they need. That's an extra 2 points they need. In which case, if they don't manage to secure pole position, that'll bump down, or open up that window, I should say, for EVR to take the championship win. So that would mean they only need to finish within the top 10 to secure the championship. Now, of course, those odds are very, very likely. They're stacked very highly in favour of EVR. But at the end of the day, it's racing. Anything can happen, and it usually does. So who knows? We could see some absolutely incredible stuff happen. We could see Misha take P1 and then it's a front row lockout for AMS. We could see Exotic Plains or Ollie set an even faster lap time and they take pole position. We could see HRT's Liagos take pole position and suddenly turn things upside down. We could see Kart on the top step. I don't know. We'll just have to wait. It's 2 minutes until the end of qualifying. Can you believe I've babbled about everything but the... I've babbled about everything but the qualifying session, and it shows. Yeah, we're coming towards the end of it. 2 minutes to go, essentially. Thanks, Maxence, for the support for QSL, saying... Hi everyone, have a great race and a great cast. Go at QSL. And Daniel Parton also says, let's go Yanis. Funny that, he was literally just in the same room as I was a few seconds ago. So, cheers Daniel. So Josh, he has decided to retire from the session. Alberto also P9. That means there is a higher chance for the EVR and AMS cars to finish their laps. Misha, unfortunately unable to set his final flying lap. Ollie will now come across the line to start his flying lap. Exotic Plains slightly further behind, and then it will be Knight. So it's going to be the two EVR cars to cross the line first to set their time. It's a 2/10 improvement on the final lap for Ollie. But of course, oh my goodness, he's already invalidated his lap time. So Ollie out of the chance to take pole position here. Ollie unfortunately unable to contribute. Exotic Plains still fine though. This is going to be the main contender, although I don't know, is that invalidated lap time? I'm assuming so. I'm assuming having a red means it's an invalidated lap time. Down in P6 we've got Liagos, we've got Yabza and Kart in P7 and P8, which could make for some interesting quality positions for them, some good points on the board, just to keep, you know, again, just to be good sportsmen, just to cross that line and keep racing. They're here for fun tonight, essentially. Shanks will be a little further behind. Antonio Jesus will be one of the last to cross the line. Coco Master will be the first Mercedes to come across the line, with Manolo being the only other XPG out on circuit, with Liagos unfortunately ending his qualifying as well in P6. So again, HRT showing they've got some pace. It was just unfortunate they couldn't unlock that earlier. And Ollie with a worst time, unfortunately unable to set a faster lap time. It's looking good for Knight. Now we wait for Exotic Plains' time. Will he take pole position as he comes across the line or improve? No, there is no improvement for him. Exotic Plains, though, up a 10th on his final sector. Is this going to be pole position? Is this going to be a step in the right direction for AMS? Yes, it is. He takes pole position. 1 point, I almost said 2 points. 1 point on the board for Knight. Good. So that's one step in the right direction. It's still going to be top 8 finish. But now we just need to wait and see whether anyone else sets a faster lap time. Everyone else has finished theirs. So Knight takes pole position for Alien Motorsport. Good stuff. So now they've got that in the bag. They've gotten that one step closer to potentially taking the championship win at this point. And that concludes qualifying. Tense towards the end as we waited with bated breath to see whether Alien Motorsport secures pole and takes that 1 point, gets that one step closer to taking the championship victory, potentially, with odds heavily stacked against them. We've got Knight in pole with Josh P2, and then the two EVR cars behind in P3 and P4, with the final AMS car in P5. Join us for the race in just a few moments. The championship decider going live in just a few minutes. Join us in just a few moments. Hello and welcome back to the EML F1 Season 8 Championship, and today you join us for the Championship Season Finale here in Abu Dhabi at the circuit, at the Yas Marina circuit. Sorry, I'm just so excited for this race. A 34 points difference between EVR and AMS, the championship leaders. EVR currently leading by 34 points after the pole position from Knight has brought them one step closer in the right direction. Their fifth pole position of the season, which matches EVR's record. Now, at the moment, they do not have as many pole positions, but they do have the same amount of wins. So, yeah, I'll go through the stats a little bit later. But, yeah, everything's on tension now. Basically, EVR need to finish within the top 8 to secure this championship. And AMS need to win and lock out the podium, P1, P2, and they need to get the fastest lap if they want to stand a chance at taking this championship. You must not forget, of course, a battle for P5 between DLX, FRC and XPG going on for P5. And, of course, HRT will be taking P9 away from XR8. They are already ahead, but they'll be getting that just a few extra points just to set them ahead. And QSL, of course, here as great sportsmen, all here just to compete for race honours and, yeah, to contribute to the action. Now, the circuit is, of course, 5.5 kilometres long, with 16 corners and a few DRS zones in there. Opportunities into turn 1, turn 5, turn 6 and turn 9, potentially giving us some action in the future. And I'm sure everyone is on the edge of their seats. Is that everyone is, or is that everyone are? Everyone are on the edge of their seats, I would assume. I'm not great with my grammar. I got a 5 in my GCSE English. So, yeah, not the greatest, but hey-ho. We wait with bated breath as the teams set their cars up. They've got their setups, I assume, all pre-planned and set up. So they'll just load those, get their tyres all ready, and the teams are watching nervously from the pit garage. You can see the DLX guys, Alberto and Antonio Jesus' crew, all watching the screens, taking a seat, and you've got the crowd above as well, Paddock Club, and of course the guys sitting just above the DHL banner, all cheering on these people. And of course we've got everyone watching online. Thank you so much for joining us for the final race of the season, the championship finale, about to go down here at Yas Marina. The lights come on. And it's go time. 13 cars go roaring down to turn 1 to start 29 laps of racing, and it's a good start for Josh. He immediately takes the race lead. It's Knight in P2, the two EVR cars falling in behind. It's all fairly nip and tuck for the rest of the grid as well. And there is someone off in the background, Gabza and Alberto dropping, as you can see. But at the moment, it's Josh in the race lead with Knight right behind Exotic Plains and Ollie right on his tail. We must not forget Misha in P5 as well, the other Alpine, looking to help in their quest towards taking the championship victory here. Exotic Plains has got a little bit of a slipstream on Knight. It looked as though he was maybe going to make a move into turn number 6, but there is only contact with the rear end of the Alpine ahead. Now the next opportunity is of course going to be turn 9. Josh may be interfering in this battle for the championship win. Could this be a spanner in the works for EVR? Could this actually help AMS? Could this be a spanner in the works for Alien Motorsports? I have no clue. Everything's up in the air at the moment. All I know is Knight is under threat from Plains and Ollie is under threat from Misha as they now make their way through turns 13, 14 and then the penultimate 2 corners as they then end lap 1 of 29, and there's already a huge gap from P7 down to P8. Coco Master 2 seconds behind Kart as they all make their way across the line for the first time this race. You can see the FRC, the Mercedes in the background. That's Coco Master right in the back. Something's happened there, maybe a bit of contact, maybe some sort of collision, maybe a spin or a crash or something happened, and maybe even just a loss of traction and they got stuck behind them. Anything could be there. I've got no clue what's happened back there. All I know is I can't take my eyes away from Knight. He's the best chance for Alien Motorsport at the moment, but of course he has got EVR right up behind him, both cars chasing him down, and DRS has already been enabled down into turn number 5. This is going to look interesting. Sorry, that's turn number 6. Turn number 5 is the one they just came from. That sharp left-hander hairpin. This is the chicane of turns 6 and 7, then through turn 8, and then down into turn 9. Another DRS zone as they now go into that left hand, and you can see there is a bit of a gap between the EVR cars and Misha. However, Knight is right up behind Josh. He wants that position quickly. He wants that extra position behind him as security from EVR, from the 2 McLarens behind. Manolo now 2.8 seconds behind Kart as he fights with Coco Master for P8. XPG, of course, being direct rivals to DLX and FRC in the championship for P5. That's another championship battle we can keep an eye on. And across the line once again we go. Lap 3 already underway. I can't believe, you know, time's just going to go by so quickly. So yeah, make sure you keep your eyes peeled and you keep them on track, because anything can happen at any point. We've seen EVR spin from the race lead right at the start of the season. We had a series of races, I think it was the first 4 rounds, where we had the EVR cars spin from the race lead, and that's why they could never get that podium finish. I mean, they got a podium finish every now and then, but it was more the race wins that they just never could get, because every time they would spin from that position, they just lose it. And of course, you don't just lose the race lead, you lose podium positions as well. I can't actually see what's going on here. Both EVR cars seem to be closer to Knight, but here we go. Knight on the inside of Josh now for turn 9, and there we go. The race lead has been exchanged between the Alpine and the Aston Martin. Now Knight has got that gap between himself and the 2 EVR cars behind as extra security. Now it's just whether Misha can get past both McLarens, whether Josh will hold these guys up. I don't know. Josh is fairly quick when it comes to his lap times during the race and so on, but yeah, again, it's so much uncertainty as Knight comes across the line to take the fastest lap. Now we need to keep that in mind as well, because that counts as an extra point. That'll give AMS the extra chance at taking the championship victory. If anyone else gets that, that's 1 less point they can get, and that essentially means that's 1 less position that EVR need to finish within. I mean, they're fairly comfortable in P3 and P4 though. As long as they keep the cars on track, as long as they just keep it in P3 and P4 even, they'll take the championship victory. But of course, you know, you're racing for race honours here as well. You're not just going for, oh, you know, I'm going for the overall championship. Ollie and Exotic Planes, though, they swap positions into turn 6. So could this be a strategic swap? Could this purely be down to the fact that he had a better run out of turn 5? Oh, here we go, though. Both EVR cars making moves. There's the move from Knight. Oh, my goodness. Knight on the inside and EVR around the outside, potentially. Unfortunately, unable to make a move. And Josh has contact with the Alpine. There's the McLaren on the inside as well as they head now through the right-handers. But just enough space, given some good sportsmanship from these guys, some good awareness from the EVR cars, from the McLarens, to keep out the side of that Alpine. We do need to remember penalties for collisions and other factors tonight as well. That could throw a massive spanner in the works. All it could take are 5 to 10 second penalties for both EVRs, and that could give AMS the championship victory. So much on the line here, so many variables, and it's only lap 5. We've got plenty more to go, plenty of opportunity to make up more positions, plenty of opportunities to make more points, plenty of opportunities to lose more points as we head into turn 5 now, and on the exit it'll once again be Knight looking to take the race lead away from the XPG car. He lost that as an EVR was also coming around the outside. Very lucky he didn't lose 2 positions there, as Knight now retakes the race lead into turn 5. And through this section, yeah, there's the chicane that could mess things up slightly for those guys. The Argos and Kart swapping for P6 and P7. However, there is a caution down at Sector 1, I believe, or that was maybe Sector 2. Here we go. There's XPG and AMS swapping positions once again. Josh resuming the race lead from Knight, as Ollie and Exotic Plains are still P3 and P4. Misha in P5. Now we mustn't forget the strategic game here as well. We have got a pit stop to keep in mind. That will usually happen about halfway through the race though. So about lap 14, if we give it plus minus 2 laps, that'll give us a healthy 4 or 5 lap window of when drivers will be pitting. And oh my goodness, there's a safety car. Oh dear. So what's happened there? Something happened at Sector 3. Liargos has left the session down in P12. That's his retirement, and unfortunately, yeah, not a good result for HRT. But then again, there wasn't really they couldn't really go anywhere with where they are in the championship right now, being P9, and the points difference between them and XPG just being too massive. At the end of the day, it's not too much of a loss, I guess, but still not great to see HRT, a Ferrari, retire. And we've got a safety car in lap 6, which is obviously not ideal for a championship finale, but it will continue to spice things up as the rest of the grid can now form up. And on the restart, of course, we've seen some great stuff from drivers who were on the ball. I think it was Azerbaijan. No, I'm thinking of a different race, sorry. Anyways, we've seen some good reactions. I think it was actually Canada. No, there we go. That was it. Canada. We had an absolutely brilliant run from Leo driving for EVR. He started, well, at the beginning of the safety car, when it came out, he was in P1, race lead, but it was the final 2 laps. It was towards the end. So he pitted, got some softs on, came out P5 on the restart. He had such a good start, made a move straight into... Oh, here we go. Hang on, hold that thought. Some drivers coming into the pits now. Ollie into the pits. Exotic Plains also into the pits as Knight and Misha choose to stay out. Interesting. But now, of course, we do need to remember there are 2 cars there, so Exotic Plains is losing time behind Ollie, waiting for that pit stop. Ooh. But look at that now. P7 and P8 for Ollie and Exotic Plains. Of course, being under safety car conditions, they are not allowed to overtake P1 and P2 for Knight. Now, this is the order that they need to finish in if they want to take the championship victory. All they need is for Ollie and Exotic Plains to finish in P8 and P9, and they need to hold on to that fastest lap in order to take the championship victory. So actually, this is quite a good visualization of what it will take for AMS to take the championship victory at this point in time in the final race of the season. Now, of course, we do need to remember we're already halted the race through. Can you believe it? Lap 7, 14 is about the halfway point. No, it's not even 14. It is. So, again, commentator maths just suck, especially midweek when you've had a bit of an interesting thing at work. Ollie and Exotic Plains P7 and P8 with Knight and Misha P1 and P2. Antonio Jesus up in P4. Could we have a DLX on the podium? I mean, yeah, maybe. That would be such a good finish to the season. I'm sure DLX would be delighted with their first podium finish of the season. They've only managed to P4 so far, and that was at the hands of Alberto in Mexico. So, yeah, some good stuff potentially for DLX tonight. But of course, pit stops have switched things up tonight. The safety car playing a role in spicing things up for the championship battles all across the field. Josh has emerged P6, and both EVR cars come into the pits again. What's this for? Is this for another pit stop? I'm confused. Knight and Misha are still out in P1 and P2. Ollie and Exotic Plains into P9 and P10, and they will drop even further. So they will need to fight through the entire pack to get to Knight and Misha, but of course they still need to do their first pit stops. So maybe it's just a change for tyres. Maybe they're just going for a different tyre strategy. I mean, Knight and Misha are on hards by the looks of it. Yes, you can see the white walls on the side of that tyre. White wall tyres, as they call them. Exotic Plains and Ollie also on hards. So P10 and P12 for Ollie and Exotic Plains. I can't help but feel that there might have been something happen there. I don't know. I'm not a strategist, by no means. I am not good at understanding Formula 1 strategy. All I know is undercut and overcut. And that when the safety car pits, essentially when you... sorry, not when the safety car pits. When the safety car is out and you pit, everyone else is moving so slow that when you pit, you're losing the least amount of time relative to your rivals. And that's why maybe EVR feel comfortable pitting now, is they maybe put on the wrong tyre compound. And here we go. Race Control says that the safety car is going to be in this lap. And Knight and Misha are leading the pack. If they can get a good start ahead of Kart, if they can get out of that DRS chain, that 1 second window, could this be a fairy tale ending to the championship for Alien Motorsport? Could this be it? Ollie and Exotic Plains, if they get caught up behind Gabza, Josh is going to be hard to get past. Kart is also going to be hard to get past. But of course, all those standings could change with a blink. Oh, it's real edge of your seat stuff. Real tension filling the air right now. No clue what's going to happen on the restart. No clue what's going to happen at the end as everyone now files in that single file line, that one column, as the AMS cars get the grid started on this lap, and Misha takes the race lead. Is that a tactical swap for positions? Potentially, but Knight, of course, we've seen his pace in the past. He's been the faster of the two overall over the last couple races. Ollie and Exotic Plains still P10 and P12. No positions gained for them off the start, but we do have a potential move for Coco Master. Josh taking an early position on the FRC, and actually Manolo, almost called him Manolo is right up behind Coco Master as well, heading into turn 5. This could be another position gain for him in this championship battle, and Knight and Misha also exchange positions. And there we go, round the outside goes the Aston Martin. Is he going to get the position? Yes, he is on the exit. Oh my goodness, and there is contact between the two. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. Is there debris on circuit? Is this going to be a virtual safety car yet again? Will this bunch up the pack yet again? It doesn't seem like it. The two AMS cars still in the race lead, and in all that chaos, Ollie and Exotic Plains are now P8 and P9. If they stay in this position, Alien Motorsport can take the championship victory. Again, there's so much emphasis on this, I'm sorry, but just last week they were on 5 points difference. Then they had the magical finish. EVR managing a 1-2 finish for their squad to take P1 and P2 and open up that gap again to 30 points. I don't know. Oh, things are spicing up. Things are spicing up. There's one of the EVR cars going slightly wide. Exotic Plains off circuit. Coco Master into the pit, of course, having to pit for the damage to his, I think it was his front wing. I think it was his front wing that was damaged. It was the Aston Martin making the move. Position gained, no, not for Ollie, not for those guys. Knight and Misha swapping positions yet again into turn 6. And Kart right up behind them. There's the move from Josh down the inside of Antonio Jesus for P4. A good move from the XPG car. Josh making some early moves on the restart. Has gone up 2 positions since we hit that safety car about 2 or 3 laps ago. And there we go, Exotic Plains and Ollie have both made a position on Alberto, who's now down to P9. So again, that's that 1 point difference. They are going to have, well, 2 points difference now because they're in P7 and P8 to take the championship victory at this point. So, you know, we kind of need to keep an eye on not only the top end of the race, not only the top end of the grid. We need to keep an eye on the further, a little further down for Ollie and Exotic Plains. They're right up behind Gabs. They're going to be putting him under intense pressure down into turn number 1, lap 11 now. And of course, the two AMS cars still need to pit, and they don't seem able to pull away from this pack behind Ollie. 0.1 seconds behind Gabs. It's going to be a lunge into the left-hander. He had a look at it, maybe trying to put the QSL under pressure, maybe make him think he's going to go for a dive, and then obviously pulling back and forcing him wide. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Here we go into turn 5. There's a move from Josh ahead. A little swing. There we go. The EVR to the inside. Gabs are now making a move on Alberto himself, and there's contact between them. Antonio Jesus off circuit, and the two EVR cars will gain those positions as the QSL Ghosts. And that's P5 and P6 for Evolution Racing now. The two Alpines swap positions now for P1 and P2 yet again. Ollie and Exotic Plains working their way through the grid. They're now up to P5 and P6. So now their chances of taking the championship victory are looking much more assured. Again, as long as they can finish the race in these positions. AMS have done all they can for now. They just need to keep pushing, keep going, and keep holding on to those top two positions and hope that something comes up again, something that spices up this grid. We've only got 12 cars out on circuit tonight, and P10 onwards is the only DRS gap, so to speak. That 1 second window to get the DRS is vital for these guys up in the top 8, especially when it comes to EVR. Everyone's still fairly neat and tidy. We've got Shanks right up behind Alberto, though, for P8 and P9. Again, this battle between DLX, FRC, and XPG kicking off for P5 in the championship. Although Gabs Kart is right up behind the Alpine of Misha now. And Josh also not too far behind, looking to spice things up. Again, 2 extra drivers for Ollie and Exotic Plains to get through if they want to get to the 2 Alpines and finish ahead of them. But again, points. They've already got the lead. Why risk it if you can just see these guys battle and then just pick up the scraps? Carter and Misha going side by side. There's the move from Carter to take P2, but is not quite done yet. Now it is, as they head into the right-hander, and Carter takes P2 away from Misha. Again, that extra 3 points that AMS could get from this, gone if Cart holds on to that position. Misha struggling on the pace slightly, and we've seen Josh and his aggression do quite well on the restart. Again, gaining 2 positions in the first 2 or 3 laps. Could this be another position loss for Misha heading into turn 5? Maybe even turn 6, maybe even turn 9. All these opportunities are waiting for Josh, but you can see there's already a massive pace gap between Kart and Misha as they head into turn 5. And here we go, Josh right up behind the Alpine, moving to the inside, and there we go. That is the move almost done for the Aston Martin. They're still side by side, a little bit of wheel banging, but still fairly fine. They're still side by side as they head down to turn 6. Both have got DRS. Look out for the EVR cars behind as well. Ollie and Exotic Plains. There's the move from Carter to take the race lead as well. Things are getting complicated. Very, very complicated. Oh my goodness, and there's Misha. Misha spun out. P9. Oh my goodness. AMS. Their odds are getting less and less. Misha, with that spin, demoted himself to P9 with both EVR cars ahead of him, and now their chance of taking the championship victory has taken a severe blow here. Lap 13 of 29, and both Alpines have yet to pit. Could they pit a little bit later, though, get a soft tyre compound on? I guess they're banking on a safety car at some point. They're going to be hoping and praying for one, because right now Ollie and Exotic Plains are P4 and P5 with Knight only in P2. Josh is getting involved there as well. Kart took the race lead briefly. Something happened while we were following Misha's recovery. The race lead got swapped around massively. Knight still in P2, but Josh and Kart swapped positions entirely. Turn 6 coming up, and Ollie is looking really closely at the rear wing of that Hart, and he's now alongside him as Knight takes the race lead. But Kart still later on the brakes and defends his position. Keeps Ollie behind just about. A little bit of rubbing, a little bit of contact, but that's okay. They're still racing. Here we go though. Swap for positions between Exotic Plains and Ollie as Knight now loses the position to Josh. And Exotic Plains is now trying to go around the outside of the Hart and has actually managed it around the outside of turn 9. Good stuff. Round that left-hander. Good move from the McLaren. That means he's now right up behind Knight. P2 and P3 here. Could we see some contact maybe? This battle for the championship lead could make them desperate for any kind of advantage over each other, whether that be contact or not. However, I would like to think that these guys are good sportsmen. They are good racers. They are not just going to smash each other off the road and crash each other out like Ayrton Senna and Prost did actually in the 90s, where they had the championship lead and all they had to do was finish ahead of the other driver, or as they stand, you know, they have the championship in the bag, and as a result they just crash into the other guy. Hopefully that is not a strategy we will see. I don't think that's a strategy we've ever seen in esports, although to be fair I haven't really watched too much of it myself. But here we go, Exotic Plains right up behind. There's Ollie making the move on Kart as well. Now both EVR cars up in P3 and P4 on those fresher tyres. Even though it's just one lap, their pace is just absolutely incredible and has allowed them to take P3 and P4. But of course, Knight loses out to Josh on the race lead. Again, he's right under Exotic Plains and Ollie's death stare from behind. And Misha is not making any progress. He's still down in P10. He's outside that DRS chain. 1.2 seconds, Antonio Jesus and Gabza. 1.6 seconds between Gabza and Alberto. So this Alpine is not really contributing to their championship efforts, unfortunately, at this time. We've seen the safety car step in, though, so this could be a second safety car at some point. I don't know. Could this thing spice up some more racing? Everything's still up in the air right now. We've still got another 14 laps to go to see what happens. Knight is now under threat from Exotic Plains behind. He's half a second behind Josh. Josh, of course, taking the race lead could, again, mess things up for the championship standings. I know I keep yabbering on about it, but that's kind of the thing that's just... It's just the main theme for this race, essentially, as Knight now makes that position on Josh. And Josh, really, all he's doing is trying to get points. Oh, but it's a massive lockup from Knight. That left front is going to have a big dent in it, or a huge slice. And here we go, Exotic Plains already alongside by the time they exit the chicane. Almost there, almost there. Ollie also looking to assault the Alpine from behind. Both EVR cars go round the outside now into turn 9. We can't see what's happening. Here we go. Is he going to hold on to that inside line for the next corner, though? Yes, he is. Ollie has essentially made that position already. And into the right-hander, Ollie has taken P2 away from Knight. Again, Alpine and EVR going head-to-head here. Final race of the season. And Josh, yes, he's taking the race lead, but the focus is on Knight now, who is trying to hold on to the hopes of a championship win for Alpine and Alien Motorsports. But at the moment, things aren't looking good for them. They've got Misha down in P10, who's just had to pit for his tyres. Knight won't be holding out for much longer, and Ollie and Exotic Plains are P2 and P4. So EVR have got this thing in a stranglehold. Now, of course, Ollie will be looking to make that position on Josh again, just to improve their chances of taking the championship victory. And here we go, it'll be early, straight into turn 5. And Josh, once again, all he's doing is he's just racing for XPG. He's just trying to get points for his own championship battle. He's trying to garner as many points as he can on this final race, potentially get them their first win of the season. XPG have only managed to get 4 podiums this season. Well, I say only. They've taken 4 podiums this season. Knight now under threat from Plains, though, round the outside of turn 9 again. But unfortunately, there's nothing on the board for him. He's still there, though. Potentially a move on the boards into turn 9. Oh, not quite, but he's right there. He's right up behind him. He's right there. So at this point, Alien Motorsport are praying for a safety car. They're praying for something massive to happen so that they can get another shot at the restart. And there we go. Knight peels into the pits and leaves Ollie and Exotic Planes, the 2 EVR cars, in P2 and P3. And we have also got a few other drivers pitting for tyres now. Shanks, you can see the Mercedes in P4 right now. Again, another team that really hasn't seen too much success this season. P4 being a good finish point for them as well, and helping them in their battle against DLX, who were also there up in P3, P4, P5-ish this race. And, you know, those chances of a podium finish not too bad for them. But, of course, you've still got another couple of laps to go. Here we go there, Ollie and Josh swapping positions for the race lead. And EVR dominance once again on the racetrack there. Their rapid pace has put them in P1 and P3 at this point. Josh driving for his own championship, driving for himself, trying to get XPG's first and only race win of the season. He's still going to be battling just as hard as the AMS folks are. Gabza and Antonio Jesus now going head-to-head down at turn 9 though. Alberto has got a 3-second time penalty. You will need to keep that in mind as well for those guys up top. If they get any penalties, things could once again spice up for Alien Motorsport. P7 and P10 for them at the moment. Nice 11 seconds behind this DRS train. Well, I mean, I say DRS train, it's 2 cars with DRS down in P5 and P6. Well, now it's not even a car with DRS, it's 11 seconds up to Gabza, who is 8 seconds off of Shanks in P4. Kart and Manolo swapping positions here on the final corner of the circuit, getting a little rough. And again, those little things might eventually boil over and cause a safety car issue, might cause a huge crash. Let's see. Kart and Manolo coming out as P7 and P8 in that exchange, and Misha has taken the fastest lap, so he's still giving it his all though. He's still giving it his all. P9, he's still going to be trying to contribute to the situation as much as he can. Up in the race lead though, Josh takes the race lead away from Ollie in the DRS zone. Once again, turn 9. They've got Shanks up behind them as well. They need to worry about that Mercedes potentially getting involved here for the podium positions, potentially even the chance at a race win. Could this be the one result from FRC that sets them above the rest of the grid, that sets them above DLX, that sets them above XPG? Well, he's alongside the second EVR. So it's not looking too bad for them. 0.9 seconds though. You need to be aware of that DRS window closing. Again, that 1 second window is what the drivers need to get DRS on the straights. If he loses that window, he loses his chance at a race win. I mean, he could still take P3 though, depending on his pace. He's not seemed too bad though. Half a second off of Exotic Planes, and it's 8/10 separating both Ollie and Exotic and Josh actually. So it should be Josh, Ollie and Exotic. I shouldn't have said both. But hey-ho. Grammar aside, Knight has set the fastest lap. P6 and P9 for them at the moment, with P2 and P3 being Ollie and Exotic Planes for EVR. It's not looking good for AMS. EVR, though, are looking hopeful. P2 and P3, they are well within that window to take the championship victory here. If they can just cross that line, if they can just finish this race, they can take the race, not only another 2 podiums to add to their 10 that they already have, but it could be then the championship victory for them. Again, as long as they can cross that line, as long as they finish within the top 8. P2 and P3, again, 2 cars on the podium. Could it be another 1-2? The only team to then get 2 1-2 finishes, demonstrating their sheer dominance towards the end of the season. Misha and Alberto swap a position down on P9 and P10. Again, keep that in mind. So it's P6 and P9 for Alpine at the moment in the Alien Motorsport cars. Lap 21 of 29. We have 9 laps to go before the end. We are almost there. We've got the end in sight. And EVR, their hopes and dreams of becoming the EML champions are looking good, but there is a caution in Sector 3. That looks like an XPG going slowly. That's Manolo slowing down just before the pit lane. So I assume he's maybe just misjudged his braking slightly, maybe brake just a little bit too early. But here we go. Ollie takes the race lead away from Josh in P2 right now, while Exotic Planes is P3. Again, though, Josh, he's a hard fighter. We've seen him fight back against these guys who are fighting for the championship win. But he's going, oh, well, I mean, I've got my own championship battle to think of. P5 for us, and takes the race lead. Alberto and Misha, though, they're having a scrap for P9. They're having a good old battle. Alberto keeping Misha behind because, again, he's also involved in this P5 battle with XPG, with FRC to take P5 in the championship. And they've got a points advantage, but just ever so slightly. Really, if XPG can manage to get a podium and maybe get Manolo a little higher, they can stand a chance at taking that fairly comfortably. Knight and Gabs are swap positions though. P5 now for Knight. He is climbing those boards, but will it be quick enough to challenge the two EVR cars? But even then it won't be enough because they need to be outside of the top 8. So really all AMS can hope for is a safety car to mix things up, give them the best shot at taking the race lead and P2. And then they've already got the fastest lap, so that's already under wraps for them. But with 8 laps to go, it's not looking too good for them. EVR, though, again, looking hopeful, taking the race lead away from Josh. Extra points, again, just making it, making it impossible at this point, almost, for AMS to win. The only thing that could really happen now for them to lose this championship is to crash both cars. Both of those cars to have a huge collision. Both cars are out or drop down to P9 and P10, and that, that'll be enough for AMS. Actually, P10 and 11, because it needs to be that extra point. Unless we somehow get a tie, in which case I'm assuming it'll be down to race wins being the difference between who wins. I don't know, actually. I don't know about the finer details of what would happen if they get a tie, but at this point I think it's fairly clear EVR have got the advantage and they are going to try and make the absolute most of this situation. Shanks in the FRC also looking to make the most of this. Could this be another new team added to the wall of winners, another podium taken away from EVR? Josh, though, doing very well at keeping his team's hopes and dreams alive of a race win. They've had plenty of podiums. They've had 4 podiums this season with various drivers, Flame being one of the prominent ones. Josh really contributed to it in China as well. Could this be his chance at taking not just another podium but a race win? Well, both EVR cars have just filed by, so his chances do seem a little less likely, as Shanks is now right up on his rear end. And as they get the power down into turn 9, here we go. XPG going around the outside of an EVR, but unfortunately unable to keep that mid-corner speed up to be alongside for the next corner. Turn 10 being that right-hander. And now Shanks is going to start assaulting this Aston Martin from behind because he wants his first podium of the season. He wants FRC to have at least one podium under their belt before the end of the season. Well, I mean, it is the end of the season, technically speaking, so really, they want a podium. Basically, just keeping it simple as they now head into 6 laps to go. We're almost there at the end, and they're side by side here for P3. FRC and XPG battling for P5 in the championship. The battle for the championship lead seems to have slowed down a little bit, as Knight is now 12 seconds behind this top 4, behind this little group of drivers up at the top of the grid. Misha is also 1.8 seconds behind Gabza. And I've also just noticed that 1 second gap is now between Josh and Ollie. There's a 1 second gap almost between them, but I think in that swap of driver positions, that gap might have closed slightly, but as they get the power down yet again, it's still the two EVRs in the race lead and P2. P1 and P2, it's a 1-2 for EVR once again. Wow. Things are coming to a head now as we head into the final sector of the racetrack, and we've only got to visit this site another 5 times for EVR to then become world champions. And I'm sure everyone's just waiting with bated breath, just hoping those drivers do not make a mistake, hoping that those first 4 races of the season, their bad luck not strike yet again, and hope that the commentator's curse is also not alive and well tonight. We've seen it happen a couple weeks ago. Well, I mean, it's a long time ago now, since Australia, where I cursed the F1 Academy France guys and was talking about P4 and P5 for them, maybe, you know, podium positions, and then they ended up losing quite a few positions after that. But, you know, anyways, yeah, it's 1 second again between Josh and Exotic Plains, the 2 EVR cars swapping positions fairly easily and with no battling, I'm sure, just to make sure they can keep that momentum going and get that 1 second gap to Josh. Again, that security behind them. Now, Knight is only, well, I say only, Knight is still 12.2 seconds behind Shank, so he's not really making much headway. He's not gaining on this top 4. So, yeah, at this point, AMS seem to be struggling. They are, the odds were stacked up against them right from the get-go, but now it's looking even more impossible for them. Misha and Alberto, though, still swapping positions down in P7 and P8. These two fighting for their lives. DLX in P8 and P9. They are, of course, fighting for P5 in the championship. And yes, Moostic, my eyes are looking like that as well. They are big, open, and I haven't blinked. Well, now I have because I've just thought about it. But before this, I hadn't blinked for the first 25 laps of this race. And it's no different heading into the final 4. 0.6 seconds between Josh and Exotic Plains. So that gap still slightly smaller between those two. Misha is the driver we are following now, down in P7. And it looks like he's got this move done on Alberto. Gotten ahead of him, but oh my goodness, there's a slow Haas. Oh my goodness, virtual safety car kicks in. Could this be the start of some more chaos? Could this be a safety car for real instead of a virtual one? Or could this spice things up massively? I mean, let's see how much damage is done. Oh my goodness, Gabza with a puncture. You can see that right front tyre completely gone. So I don't think there's debris on circuit unless he's lost a wing or a winglet or something. But at the moment, yeah, the gaps are all pretty much frozen. Knight 13.8 seconds behind this top 4. If this turns into a real safety car, this could work out very well for Alien Motorsport. Give them that one final chance at taking the championship victory. But there we go. There we go. Back to green flags. So that brief moment of hope for AMS is now gone as Exotic Plains and Ollie breathe a big sigh of relief and get going again. P1 and P2 for them. It's a front row lockout for them. And could this be a second 1-2 finish for the McLaren-based team? We've seen them just last week finish P1 and P2. 3 laps to go now as we head into the final 3 laps of not only this race, but the entire season. And what a season it has been for EVR. They've had such a roller coaster of emotions, especially at the start of the season where qualifying seemed to be their thing. It seemed to be their... That was, I don't know how to say it. It was just their area to shine. It was their time to shine during qualifying, but when it came to the race, yes, they were quick, but they always had that one driver spin out, and then about round 5, round 6, they started fixing that, working on that. Yes, they then lost their streak of taking pole position, but then they got more consistent results. They then got their podiums. They then started getting their race wins, and they then picked up that momentum to continue. And as a result, they find themselves now 34 points ahead of Alien Motorsports. And not only that, but even more, as they are now in P1 and P2 with the AMS cars in P6 and P7 as they come across the line to start lap 28. They only need to cross that line 2 more times before they are declared the EML F1 Season 8 champions if they continue at this pace. Josh 0.3 seconds behind them, potentially another variable to be thrown into the mix, but it will have to be a very, very bad mix if this is to go AMS's way. He's under threat from Shanks himself, because of course FRC haven't managed to score any podiums this season, whereas XPG have got 4 of them already. So Shanks trying to secure at least 1 podium finish for the team before the season ends. Look at that, 2 FRC cars right behind each other. You can see Coco Master in the background, and Coco Master can see his teammate fighting here for podium positions, potentially cheering him on here as Josh now goes around the outside for turn 9. We've seen EVR pull off this move several times today, but unfortunately no luck for the XPG. Now, you might have noticed a little further down as well, Knight and Kart swapped positions briefly a while back, but it's resumed their order now, P5 and P7 for Knight and Misha. Here we go though, around the final corner in just a few moments. This is turn 16, then into turn 17. The 2 EVR cars, P1 and P2, on the final lap of the final race of this season. It is the last lap, ladies and gents, and EVR are looking to have this championship in the bag as long as they can finish this lap. Knight and Misha are in P5 and P7. Their direct championship contenders are nowhere in sight. There is a caution in Sector 1 though, as, oh my goodness, a QSL car almost takes out one of the EVR cars. That would have been an interesting addition to the spice mix that we already had going for this race, but it looks like it has run out now, except that Josh is looking for a podium position as well, maybe finishing EVR's photo finish moment as he absolutely sends it down the inside. Will that be an overtake off circuit? And that's a 3-second time penalty for Josh. So this could allow Shanks to take his first podium and only podium of the season, and not only that, but score the only podium and only, well, first and only podium for FRC. Things are spicing up here towards the end as Josh gets desperate because he's fighting for his own battle in this championship. There's contact between them now as they make their way through turns 10 to 14 now, and the EVR car has managed to stay ahead just about, and the XPG is shunted towards the outside. But here we go, across the line in just a few moments. Ollie round the final corner, and EVR are Esports Masters League World Champions. Josh into the wall in the background, but EVR, despite all the pressure from Alien Motorsport towards the end of the season, have managed to stay ahead and not only take P1 and P2 today, but take the championship victory as well. Evolution Racing, your EML F1 Season 8 champions. It has taken them a lot of work to get here. The first half of the season, unfortunately, riddled with mistakes and hiccups as they spun from the race winning position 4 times in a row. But towards the end, they managed to get 10 podiums in a row. Not only that, now it adds up to about 13 or 14. The stats are already a bit unclear for me because my head is spinning with excitement for Ollie and Exotic Planes, who sign off EVR in magnificent fashion with a 1-2 finish. They did it last week at the United States Grand Prix, and they do it yet again here in Abu Dhabi. Four race wins, 10 podiums, 2 fastest laps, and 5 pole positions for EVR, now changed to 5 race wins and 12 podium positions. They have not only taken 1 and 2 on the podium, but they have taken P1 in the championship. EVR are your new EML champions. What a season, and what a race to sign off that season. Only 13 cars showed up, but the action was unrivaled, with a safety car at the start throwing things all around the place. But EVR managed to keep their cool, and despite the initial confusion, take not only P1 and P2 but the championship victory. A well-deserved championship win for EVR. They will be celebrating for very long into the night. And that concludes our season. It concludes season 8. This is it. This is the final race of the season. And yeah, season 8 is concluded. So unfortunately no action next week because we're done. This is it. Final race of the season over, and we have some new champions. Now I do have to announce that we do still have a race on in 2 weeks, a social, as a taster of the next Championship League race that we'll be running, or I should say Championship really, the E-Nations League, which will be starting sometime in July, so it's still a good wait, but join us for the social race anyways. That will be some good fun. But I'm sure EVR though tonight, they have got nothing but champagne on their minds, and partying will be going on late into tonight. Very well deserved, I should say. So join us in just a few weeks for the social race, but otherwise this is it, ladies and gents. Final race of the season. We'll see you all later. Good night.